The wall of silence crumbles. William and Kate finally address the nightmare. Hello to all my lovely subscribers, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, come on in, pull up a chair, and let's get right into the thick of it. You know we don't beat around the bush here. We look past the polished PR statements and try to figure out what is really going on behind those palace gates. And let me tell you, the gates are rattling today. We have been waiting for this. For years, we have watched the absolute car crash that is the Prince Andrew scandal. We've seen the interviews, we've read the headlines, and we've watched the late, great Queen Elizabeth II, God rest her soul, try to manage a situation that was quite literally unmanageable. But through it all, there was one thing we rarely heard: a direct reaction from the future King and Queen, Prince William and Catherine. They have maintained that classic never complain, never explain dignity until now. The headline breaking the internet today is exactly what we've been whispering about. Kate Middleton and Prince William have broken their silence on the Epstein files, stating they are deeply concerned by the continuing revelations. Now, I know what you're thinking. Deeply concerned? That's it? But ladies, in royal speak, deeply concerned is the equivalent of screaming from the rooftops. It is a massive departure from their usual protocol. It tells us that the patience at Adelaide Cottage has officially run out. They aren't just concerned, they are furious, and they are done protecting the favorite son. Let's pick this apart. A spokesperson for the Prince and Princess of Wales released this statement just as William was preparing for a major diplomatic trip to Saudi Arabia. The timing is not accidental. Nothing the royals do is accidental. They knew that if they didn't say something now, William's entire trip, which is vital for UK relations, would be overshadowed by questions about his uncle, the newly minted Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The statement was brief, sharp, and cut right to the chase. I can confirm the Prince and Princess have been deeply concerned by the continuing revelations. Their thoughts remain focused on the victims. Deeply concerned. It's a polite way of saying they are horrified. It's a way of drawing a line in the sand. It says, we are the future, he is the past, and we are disgusted. You have to understand the position William is in. He is trying to modernize the monarchy. He is trying to secure the future for George, Charlotte, and Louis. And here he has his uncle, a man who had everything: wealth, status, the love of his mother, dragging the family name through the absolute mud. And let's talk about Catherine, our Princess of Wales. She has had a tremendous couple of years, battling her own health issues with such grace, holding the family together, being the rock. Can you imagine how infuriating it must be for her? She is doing everything right. She is the picture of duty. And then you have Andrew, seemingly unable to stop the flow of humiliating stories. The sources are telling us that behind closed doors the atmosphere is icy. William has reportedly been the driving force behind the ruthless new approach to Andrew. While King Charles has a soft spot for his brother, it's his brother after all. William has no such sentimental attachment to the drama. He looks at Andrew and sees a liability. He sees a threat to his wife and children's reputation. Now let's get to the juicy part, the consequences. It seems the concern William and Kate are feeling is backed up by action from the king. We are hearing reports that the siege of Royal Lodge is finally over. For months, Andrew has been refusing to leave that massive 30-room mansion in Windsor. He's been clutching that lease like a lifeline. But the pressure has finally become too much. Andrew has reportedly moved his things out. He's been packed off to the Sandringham estate. And no, he's not going to the big house. He's staying in a cottage, wood farm, or a similar property. Now, don't get me wrong, a cottage on the royal estate is nicer than most of our houses. But for a man who used to fly on private jets and host dinner parties at Royal Lodge, it's a come-down, it's a humiliation, and honestly, it's about time. The latest files released by the U.S. Department of Justice made it impossible for him to stay. We aren't just talking about old news anymore. We are talking about new documents, new emails, and even photographs. There was a mention of a photo of Andrew leaning over a woman. There were emails about him inviting people to the palace to add some life. It makes your skin crawl, doesn't it? The eviction is symbolic. It's the king, and likely with William's very strong encouragement saying, "You are no longer a working royal. You are no longer a prince of the realm in practice, and you do not get to live in a 30-room mansion while the rest of us try to keep this ship afloat." William wants the royal lodge for his family eventually, or at least he wants it to be used for something productive. Seeing it rot away while Andrew hides inside was never going to fly with the new Prince of Wales. Now, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephants in Montecito. Harry and Meghan. Isn't it fascinating, ladies, how quiet they are right now? Usually you can't open a newspaper without seeing a quote from a source close to the Sussexes, or a statement from their Archewell Foundation about the moral state of the world. They love to lecture us on compassion, on truth, on shining a light, on injustice. And yet here is one of the biggest injustices involving the royal family, a scandal involving the exploitation of young women, and from Montecito. Crickets. Absolute silence. Why do you think that is? Some people think it's because they don't want to poke the bear while they are trying to rebuild their own brands. But there's a more cynical view, and honestly, that's where I tend to lean. If Harry and Meghan speak out against Andrew now, they remind everyone that they are still technically connected to this mess. Plus, Harry has always been close to his cousin Eugenie. Andrew is Eugenie's father. If Harry attacks Andrew, he risks losing his only remaining ally in the royal family. But the hypocrisy is just staggering, isn't it? Meghan, the self-proclaimed feminist, the advocate for women's rights, the woman who famously said, "Silence is betrayal." Well, Meghan, your silence right now is deafening. It just goes to show the difference between Kate and Meghan. Kate stays silent for years, absorbing the blows, doing the work, and speaks only when it is absolutely necessary to protect the institution and the victims. Meghan speaks constantly about herself, but when there's a real, complex family crisis that doesn't directly benefit her narrative, she vanishes. It's almost as if they are enjoying watching the royals squirm. They can sit back in California and say, "See, we told you that place was toxic." But by saying nothing, they are proving that their activism is selective. It's only activism when it sells books or Netflix documentaries. My heart does break a little for two people in this story, Beatrice and Eugenie. Can you imagine being in their shoes? They are women in their 30s now. They have husbands, they have children. They are trying to live somewhat normal lives, and their father is this. Reports are coming out that the York sisters feel duped. They believed their father for years. He looked them in the eye and told them he was innocent, that he was an honorable man who just had bad friends. And like any good daughters, they wanted to believe him. They defended him. Now, with every new document that drops, with every new email that is released, that trust is shattered. They have to walk around London with their heads held high while everyone whispers about their father. It's a tragedy for them, and it's a mess for William too. He cares about his cousins. They grew up together, but he cannot let his affection for Beatrice and Eugenie stop him from doing what needs to be done with Andrew. This is the ruthlessness of the crown. The institution comes first, always. William knows that if he doesn't cut the rot out now, it will spread to his own reign. He doesn't want King William V to be known as the king who harbored a scandal. He wants a clean slate. One of the saddest parts of the recent news is how it drags the late Queen's memory into it. New emails suggest that while the Queen gave Andrew her full support publicly, privately she, or at least her advisors, thought his contact with Epstein was unwise. Unwise. That is the British understatement of the century. It hurts to think of the Queen, in her final years, dealing with this. She loved Andrew. He was her second son, and many say her favorite. She protected him as long as she could. But even she knew. She stripped his titles before she died. She knew he couldn't come back. It makes you wonder what conversations Charles and William had with her in those final months. Did they promise her they would handle it? Did she ask them to be gentle, or did she give them permission to do what was necessary? Given how quickly Charles and William have acted recently, the eviction, the statements, it feels like the protective shield died with Her Majesty. The gloves are off. So where do we go from here? Andrew is in his cottage. His titles are gone. He is essentially a ghost on the estate. He might be seen riding a horse now and then, but his public life is over. But is that enough? The public, that's us, the people, we are still angry. We see the photos. We hear the stories of the victims. And simply moving to a smaller house doesn't feel like justice to a lot of people. William and Kate's statement about being deeply concerned and focused on the victims is a good start. It acknowledges the pain of the women involved, which is something the royals failed to do for a long time. They were so busy protecting Andrew, they forgot about the people who were actually hurt. I think we are going to see a very different monarchy under William. We are seeing the preview of it now. It's going to be slimmer, it's going to be sharper, and it's going to be much less tolerant of misbehavior. William has a temper, we've heard that. But in this case, his temper might be exactly what the monarchy needs. He is angry that his family's reputation is being tarnished. He is angry that his children have to grow up reading these headlines. He is drawing a circle around his family, Kate, George, Charlotte, Louis, and saying, nothing gets inside this circle. If that means casting out his own uncle, he'll do it. If that means freezing out his brother Harry, he's already done it. This whole scandal really highlights the dangers of the slimmed-down monarchy King Charles talks about. When you have fewer working royals, every single one of them matters more. If one of them goes rogue, like Andrew, or leaves, like Harry, the whole structure shakes. Right now, who is left? You have Charles and Camilla, who are in their 70s. You have Anne, the hardest working woman in show business, but she can't do it all. You have Edward and Sophie, who are lovely and doing a great job. Edward even spoke out recently too, echoing William's sentiments about the victims. And then you have William and Kate. That's it. That is the core team. The pressure on William and Kate is immense. They are carrying the weight of the entire future of the institution on their shoulders. That is why they cannot afford to be silent on Epstein anymore. They cannot afford to look like they are complicit or indifferent. They have to be the moral compass. That is why this statement is so historic. It is them stepping up and saying, we are in charge of the moral direction of this family now. So, ladies, that is the state of play. The wall of silence has cracked. William and Kate have spoken. Andrew has been packed off to the cottage, and Meghan and Harry are watching from the sidelines. It is a sad state of affairs, truly. When you think of the history, the pageantry, the respect we used to have, and now it feels like a soap opera. But at least finally the people at the top are acknowledging the reality. They are telling us that they see what we see. They are disgusted just like we are disgusted. I want to know what you think. Do you believe William and Kate's statement goes far enough? Do you think Andrew should be completely cut off financially? And what do you make of Meghan's silence? You know I love reading your comments, so please leave them down below. Let's get a real discussion going. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed our little chat, and subscribe if you haven't already. We have a lot more to talk about in the coming weeks, I'm sure. The drama never sleeps, and neither do we. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep your eyes open.